So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to calculate what percentage of the total each item is. Whether you have a fixed length table, something like this, maybe where it's a year, and then something where you may have an indefinite length where things will be added. So let's start with this one. And so basically the percentage of the total is each item divided by the total amount. And so if you have something like this, you could just add a total at the bottom or the top, wherever you want it to be, and then we'll come up with that total. And then we can basically just divide each one by that total. And so we can do that with equals and this revenue divided by our total here. So that gives us our total. And so we could start dragging this down, but we have an issue because it changes from D18 to D19. And so what we want to do is make sure we lock this. And by locking it, I mean adding a dollar sign. What that does is it keeps it from changing as you drag it down. And so now if we can let it autofill, or if autofill doesn't come up, you can also just click on this lower right hand side where it turns into crosshairs and then drag that down just like that. And you can drag it all the way down if you want to see that 100%. Otherwise, if you do not, we can delete that. And then I'm just going to paint this format back over here just to keep that total distinct. All right, so that's how you create a percentage of total on a fixed table. And just so you know, this sum doesn't have to be here at the bottom. It could be up here, be off on the side, and then you just change this D18 to whatever cell that is in. That is all we need for the fixed length. Now for the indefinite length, what if you don't have a cell here where we can put that sum right at the bottom? Now, if we put it up here, we could still compensate, but I'm going to show you how we do that here. So we have all these revenues, and we're potentially going to be adding more for different products or whatever it is, right? And so we basically, need a sum. So we take this and then we need the sum of whatever is in here. And so we could add a sum up here, something like equals sum, and then get that total like that. Let me change that to a dollar sign there. So we could use something like this and then make a reference this divided by that. And that would work. But if you don't want or don't need that sum total there, then we can actually build it into this cell. And so the way we would do that is equals, and we take this item, divided by, and we're going to create that sum right in this cell. And so we can start dragging down. I don't need to go down to the bottom because I'm going to actually remove this n reference just like that. So D6, whatever the starting row is, to D. And then I'm going to add this locking again because we're going to drag this down. Hit enter, and then we can either accept the autofill or we can manually drag it. So I'm just going to manually drag it now and bring it down like that. Now, if you're using a table, the new tables, which this is not, the tables is under here, the format. Now, if you are using the table, then this formula would automatically populate every time you add a new row. If you're not, then we'd either need to drag this down, or after we add a product, then we drag it down. So if we add one more here, something like this, at this point, those percentages have changed, but we're not seeing the one for this one. So either before or after we want to drag this down. Now we could drag down in advance, but I'm going to show you as we close this video, one thing we could do instead of having this formula in each row, I can actually use an array formula in this one to populate the entire column, and it'll keep filling even as we add new products. So this is going to be array formula. And then I can do D6 to D here as well, but I want to make sure I don't have an error if it's blank. So I'm going to add another condition. If D6 to D is blank, we're going to do nothing. Otherwise, we'll do that D6 to D divided by sum. And now I can close it out, let it drag down. There we go. So now the formula is only here, not in any of these. As you can see, it's just the percentage. But then if we add a new product, it automatically shows that percentage right there. So that is it for today's video. Make sure to like and subscribe if this was helpful for you, and check out the other videos on our channel for more tutorials on both Google Sheets and AppScript. And as always, have a great day.